Okay.
Can you see right now, or are you just on the phone?
I can see. Yeah, I'm just on. Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. So this morning, Brandon actually was invited to the Erie County Fair to observe Leslie for the day. So instead of Brandon running this weekend's Weekend Warrior call, I'm going to be running this morning's call. So we have some good stuff that we're going to be covering here today. We're going to be talking about the GetQ app. We're going to be talking about Start, Stop, Continue. Also going to We're also going to be talking about the importance of having thick skin. So I have my screen shared right now. So if you guys could hop on video, that would be very helpful too. But I'm going to share my screen. Well, I already did share my screen. So we're going to watch a quick video on what this GetQ app is all about. So especially for you banker innovators, which I believe you two are banker innovators, the GetQ app is probably going to be something that you're really, really into. So let's go ahead and let's check this thing out. So this thing is awesome. Oh, shoot. Timeout. So this app, shoot, hold on. This app is a free app on getq.com. It was made by a Vector district manager or sales rep. And some other offices have been using it, and it's fantastic. Also, not just for you, but for me, because there's a portion of it where I can actually track how much through the app, how many calls you guys are making. So I know if you're doing what you say you're doing or not, which is obviously pretty important for accountability purposes for sure. So, and then you don't have to worry about keeping meticulous stats for yourself because it automatically keeps the stats for you. So I think this app is a real game changer. You can, like I said, you can automatically put your recommendations in there. You can import your contacts. You can do so many things. So on the website, getq.com. So conquer phone jams, get started today, book more demos. It's like you're queuing up your calls just like if you're on Spotify. So it's pretty awesome. So lots of cool features, queue contacts and music, schedule demos and callbacks. You can save the event to your calendar, get caller ID, create tags, take notes, save the result of every call, and you can download it for Apple or Android on your phone right there, which is definitely awesome. It was made by Joseph Jordan. So this thing is something that I really want to get some traction on, because I think that the best way, it's from a manager perspective, it's almost like a scorecard for your reps, and it logs it all for the week right on there too, which is pretty cool. So any feedback, any thoughts, any takeaways? What do you guys think about that app? Yay, nay, awesome, looks stupid, looks amazing. What do you guys think? You can unmute yourself.
I think it looks amazing. Like, I would much rather use that than, like you said, track everything myself.
Yeah. I figured, just knowing you for the past couple months, I figured you'd be a pretty big fan of that.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool too.
Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate the feedback. Jack, what are your thoughts?
I definitely think I would enjoy it. I'd get a lot out of it for sure.
Cool. So, if you guys want to start fooling around with that thing this weekend, there's no better time than now, really. There's no better time than this weekend to download it, upload your contacts to it and everything, upload your referrals to it, all that good stuff. Interesting thing is, you guys are all pretty consistent with your phone time usually, but I think that this could save you even more time, make things even more efficient for you, make things even more effective, so that you can do the same amount of work, but in just significantly less time. So I'm pretty excited about that for sure. So next thing is, before we go into Start Stop, because I want to finish with Start Stop Continue, before we go into that, I want us to watch a video on thick skin from my dude Jocko Willink. So Jocko is like a decorated Navy SEAL, did tons of tours over in like Operation, what is it called? Operation Freedom, I think, over in Iraq and everything. And has an interview with Jordan Peterson. And if you don't know Jordan Peterson, he's just a really interesting college professor, has a really interesting take on things. So this video in today's world, I think, is really important, because in Vector, you have to have thick skin. there's no way around it. You can't be thin-skinned unless you want to be upset and butthurt all the time. And I know that's kind of a crude way of saying it, but there's really no other way to I can think of to get the point across. Like, you gotta have thick skin. You can't take things personally from customers. And when you adopt that mindset, you let everything just roll right off your sleeves, right off your shoulders, right off your back. So we didn't have time for this at the team meeting, so I want to watch it this morning. But let's talk about thick skin. Oh, shoot. I always do that.
One of the sections in the book, you talk about, I believe the person's name was Lunchbox?
Lunch bucket.
Lunch Bucket, right.
Poor old Lunch Bucket.
Since we're talking about work environments, and there's that certain level of camaraderie, you actually talk about the SEAL teams in here, where you just have this, it's like a and I've talked about this before, in the SEAL teams, it's nonstop, hyper verbal abuse, aggression around the clock, 24 hours a day. You're in a SEAL platoon, like that's life. Yeah. Any mistake that you make, any display of weakness is going to be
especially contemptible weakness.
Ripped apart. It's going to be ripped apart.
Yeah. And then if you get all irritated about that, it's even worse, man. Then you're just dead.
The nicknames you talked about, Lunch Bucket. Your nickname was Howdy Doody, and then it got shortened to Howdy, which was you felt pretty good about.
That was better.
Yeah, you went from Howdy Doody, which is kind of
that was so good.
To Howdy, which is kind of cool, right? As a Western guy, whatever.
Right.
But the nicknames that are in the SEAL teams, like I can't with good conscience repeat them.
I'm sure that's
because
true.
they're just horrible names. Yeah. But there's a camaraderie around that, and there's also as I was reading what you had written about these guys working on a railway
crew. Yeah.
There's a test. It's a test. It's a test to see where you're at. It's what you're made of.
That's right. Can we rely on you? Can you tolerate a little bit of irritation? If the answer to that is no, it's like, well, maybe we don't want you around then, because some irritating things are likely to come down the pipe.
Yeah, and it's not just to me it proves if you've got someone that can take it, right? It's not just that they can take some random joking insults. Like they can take it. They can take it.
Yeah, that's what you're testing for. It's like, can you take it? Lunch Bucket couldn't, right? Because people would laugh at his lunch bucket and he'd get all upset. It's like, well, you have a stupid lunch bucket. It's like, your mom packed it. How about you laugh at yourself? Yeah, my mom packed this. I know it's kind of stupid. That would have been the end of it. He would have just had to say that. Yeah. It's like, but I didn't want to hurt her feelings. It's like, oh, okay, fine. You got your stupid lunch bucket. But no, he couldn't handle that. So yeah, it was horrible and comical to watch at the same time, because the level of, and people have written me about that, and they said, oh, poor lunch bucket. It's like, because they're all compassionate. I think, no, not poor lunch bucket. It's like, clue the hell in, buddy. You had your chance. That was a desirable job, that rail crew job in the summer, because it was high paying, and they weren't easy to come by, those jobs. And so the fact that he got hired onto that crew was a real opportunity for him. You could make a pile of money in the summer at working on the rail crew. And all you had to do was take some ribbing with good grace, not suck up to the management too badly, and not have other people do your job. That was all. That was all you had to do. But he couldn't do that. And so he got run off. And it was like, grow the hell up, buddy. These guys, when 100 people are teasing you, then probably they're not wrong.
Yeah. When you are getting teased like that as well, when you stop reacting, it's no longer fun.
Yeah. Well, it also gives you an opportunity to tease back. It's like, because you can show your wit. And one of the things that working class guys in particular, which is one of the things I really loved about working class jobs, is that they're always looking for some humor. So it's like, if person A is teasing person B, that's kind of comical. But if person B comes back with a good comeback, it's like, that's even better, So I think that's a lot of how those jobs are rendered tolerable, right? They're hard, dirty jobs. Right. Dishwasher is a good example. That's not dangerous, although cooking is you gotta watch your step. I got burned a lot when I was cooking. But what makes those jobs not only tolerable, but even desirable, is that you can develop a tremendous amount of camaraderie around them. I've never really experienced that at a professional level job. That just doesn't happen the same way. And there's a real loss in that. So It's fun to be part of a team that's doing, you know, grubby hands-on things and having a ridiculously entertaining, vicious, cruel, and evil time while you're doing it. That's very entertaining.
This new kids book I wrote. So the kid Mark, he's getting made fun of by this. He's a different kind of bully. He's like a mental bully that verbally abuses people, and he gets called plate face by this character, and eventually gets in trouble for throwing something at the kid because he's calling him plate face. But eventually, the way he befriends the kid is by they have to do a self-portrait class, and he draws a picture of himself looking like a plate, and he shows it again. The kid laughs, and all of a sudden they're buddies. And it's like that's what you do. You take away the joy of being so heated and irritated by people that are making fun of you, and you just kill it right there.
Jiu-jitsu in some sense. Well, I had an experience with that about 3 years ago. I put my videos up online, and people kept saying that I sounded like Kermit. And I thought, well, one person said it, and I thought, well, whatever. But then like 5 people said it, and I thought, oh my God, like this Kermit thing. So then I went and listened to Kermit, and I thought, oh no, it's like really, I really sound like Kermit, you know. And so then I started to play with it a little bit, you know. I used the puppet, and when I went to speak to university students, and I made frog jokes, and then I made a couple of videos that sort of featured me as a frog. And I mean, it's crazy, right? It's ridiculous, but the teasing never got mean because of that, you know. Yeah. And the same things happened online to a larger degree as people keep making memes of me. Like, and there's lots of them. There's way too many to even keep track of. And I was watching that happen, and I thought, okay, this is a good thing because there's humor, and wherever there's humor, that's a good thing. And they're making fun of me, but it's gentle. You know, most of it was pokey, you know, like, well, you sound like this damn puppet. What do you think of that? It's like, well, if I had to pick someone to sound like, probably wouldn't be a puppet. But if it had to be a puppet, Kermit's not a bad one. It could be a lot worse. Like, it could be Miss Piggy. I could have been that, you know, so thank God that didn't happen. But the memes have never got vicious because, you know, I'll post them if they're funny and satirical, and then they won't get vicious because they don't have to. It's like, can we poke fun at you? It's like, yeah, please do. And the more the better, really, because that'll also help keep my feet on the ground and keep me awake. And plus it's funny. And like, one of the things about life is that a sense of humor, that's a good thing to arm yourself with, because sometimes you just don't have anything other than that.
All right. So, hold on.
One of the sections in the book, you talk about.
Sorry about that. Alrighty, so I'm very interested to hear, what are your thoughts on that video right there? I'll go first. Like, I love the last line about a sense of humor is a great thing to arm yourself with, because sometimes it's all you have. So I think that it's really, really important in your guys' case, and in your guys, what do you call it? Just for your perspective, to just take everything in stride, okay? Like, basically becoming bulletproof so that nothing bothers you. Not like nothing in the job, nothing outside the job, like nobody can get to you. Because again, like, let's say like someone's being critical or whatever it happens to be, if you see that, or if they see that it's really bothering you, it's like it opens up a wound, and then they'll just like attack it even more. But if you can take it, flip it around and either turn it into a strength or make something even funnier about it, whatever it happens to be, there's a real power in that. And it shows that you have a lot of self-mastery, and that you also don't take yourself too seriously. So like he said, in the professional world, it doesn't happen that often at all. Because in the professional world, there's a lot of prima donnas. There's a lot of divas in sales. People can be successful, but they can still be divas. Like if you say the smallest little thing, it just absolutely positively bruises their ego. And you can't joke with them. You can't like have fun with them. You can't like just, not saying anything malicious, obviously, like that crosses the line, but There's definitely, it's definitely true, because I worked construction as a summer job as well, and I can remember just a lot of the guys. There weren't many girls, but a lot of the guys were absolutely hilarious, and it was just like lighthearted little things. And like he says, it's just testing you. Sometimes in like when we're in the vector bubble, it's like so positive that, like, how do I say it? It's like so positive that people develop an intolerance to anything that's like not overtly positive. So sometimes I definitely believe in having a positive atmosphere, positive environment, things like that, but you still have to be able to deal with stuff from the outside or the inside world, like the non-vector world. So once you jot down what's your thought, what's your takeaway from that video right there on having thick skin. And then whoever wants to go first can go ahead and share as soon as you're done. You can unmute.
Yeah, I think it's really important to have thick skin, and I thought that when you mentioned like the entertainment aspect of it, because a lot of people in entertainment get themselves poked at because they're in entertainment, of course. I thought it was really just an interesting thing to talk about, because you do get made fun of a lot by other people, and it's kind of really important to have thick skin to deal with other people. So
Yeah, I completely agree, especially when you're exposed to millions upon millions of people. Like, if you allow every little thing to hurt you, to upset you, like, you're going to spend all the time being hurt. Like, you're going to spend all the time in the world, like, just being upset about everything. And that's not a fun way. It's not a fun way to go. Brandy or Jack, you guys have any thoughts?
Yeah, I liked where he said handling that sort of thing with grace, because you're definitely less effective, and you're not able to like really do your job very well if you're gonna, if you're gonna be so affected by somebody like making even a lighthearted joke or just like a little criticism. It's not gonna help you to get super emotional and upset.
Yeah, that is for sure. And unfortunately, we live in a world where people get offended really easily. And ironically, Brandy was Brandy was involved in a conversation recently where people are getting offended really, really easily. And I think that sometimes it could be like a generational thing, as we were kind of talking about when we were in Ohio. And sometimes people are just looking for constant reasons to be offended, to be like upset about something, like whatever it happens to be. And sometimes things are like offensive, but you don't want to let, like, even if someone is trying to offend you in life, your reaction is up to you. Like that's the key that you have to understand. Like, your response and how it affects you is up to you. And people that have kind of mastered their emotions and mastered self-control, they don't allow themselves 99.999% of the time, they don't allow themselves to get off base with themselves. They don't allow themselves to be greatly affected by people when they're either trying to be offensive, not trying to be offensive, like whatever it happens to be. So if you think of people that are truly happy, very little things actually bother them. Like, it takes a lot for someone to be like moved off their equilibrium in a negative way when they're like a truly happy person. So like if you, like Brandy said, like handling it with grace, like that can definitely go a really long way. So I think that's really important. And then Jack, do you have any like 1 or 2 thoughts that you could maybe share? If you unmute, possibly. That's okay. We'll come back to you. So again, I thought that was really important, guys, just from a perspective of building up your tolerance, building up your thick skin. It's like having it's like having a plate of armor on yourself, and that you want to equip yourself with, just so, like, you could practice your wit in situations like that, like give a funny comeback or whatever it happens to be. So I think that's important. And now for the last few minutes here, I want to talk about start, stop, and continue. Start, stop, continue. And you don't have to share all of them, but I would love it if you could name at least one thing that you want to start doing, one thing you need to stop doing, and give yourself credit, one thing that you want to continue doing that you've been doing, okay? So give you a chance to get that out. Hopefully you have it with you. Hopefully you're able to complete it by this morning. But I want to talk about start, stop, continue. Start, stop, continue. And Brandy, I'll have you go first whenever you're ready. The floor is yours.
Okay. So for my start, I have start being more proactive and stop beating myself up over making small mistakes, especially in demos, and continue going to conferences.
Okay, just writing stuff down. Hold on. Okay, so start being more proactive. So what are some ways that you can be more proactive?
Doing like getting things prepared the day before, or maybe booking, like setting aside more time to book a ton of demos if I know that I'm not going to be able to for a few days, or at least getting like a names list prepared for that. Just being more prepared for me is a big thing.
Preparation, okay. So a lot of times it just comes down to having a system for planning. Whether it's a planner, like there's this thing called the Passion Planner that I sometimes use. It's awesome. That's really good. You can download it for free and get it printed out at like Office Depot. And I think it's like $7 to print it out in like a spiral thing, like total, with our Office Depot discount.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So, because we get 2-cent black and white copies at Office Depot, so it's pretty sweet. It's a lot cheaper than if you did not have the discount there. But I definitely think that being proactive, especially like you said, when you're not going to be able to do demos for a few days, you got to take some time off. I think that's really important. And you talked about not beating yourself up on like demos and things like that over mistakes that you make. I think that's really important too, because like I think it's good to be tough on yourself, but tough on yourself to the point that it helps you grow stronger, rather than beating yourself up to that you just feel like a piece of trash. That is not helpful. Like you want to you want to be tough on yourself so that influences you, and you know what that point is too.
Yeah.
You know where like you go beyond that point, and you know like where you're like kind of at the threshold. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then continuing going to conferences, 100%. Never had a rep go to a conference where they said that, yeah, that was a waste of time, all that sort of good stuff. Like Vector does a really good job of delivering at the conferences for sure. So I've never missed a conference in 12 years, and I've never regretted going to any of them. So there's been a couple times where I haven't looked as much forward to going to one because I felt like I was gonna not get as much from it, and then I go to it and I'm like, I'm glad I was here.
Yeah.
That's happened, especially being in the company for so long. That's happened to me multiple times. Like, I mean, multiple times for sure. So next, Elisa, I know you have to go kind of soon, so I'll let you go next if you can. I just remembered that you might have to leave early. So Elisa, if you could unmute yourself and give it a whirl.
I want to start. Wait, what was?
Yep. Give one start, one stop, one continue that you'd like to talk about or help with. Need.
Oh my god. I'd like to definitely start oh my god, I completely like lost it.
Did you write it down?
No, I didn't write it down.
Okay. There's a 0% chance that not writing it down is effective for a group.
Start writing it down then.
Okay. That is not what you're going to use, but that was something else. I'll let you write it down for a second. We'll go to Jack.
Okay.
So I'd like to start doing the call 5 before, call 5 after sort of deal for demos, because that's something I never really tried and it probably would work great.
Right.
Stop doing, I would like to stop telling myself I'm going to sit down for phone jams and actually do it. And then continue just really having fun with the demos and, you know, getting the most out of them.
Okay, let me just take some notes here. All right, so 5 before, 5 after. Fantastic strategy, without question. Because usually, I mean, it's not a perfect science, but a majority of the time, strong majority, when you make 5 calls before and after, 10 calls total, you're usually going to book up at least one more. So that means you're constantly replacing the demo that you're doing. So 5 before and 5 after, it also reduces, like, especially when you've got like 10 demos booked up ahead of you, it reduces the amount of longer call times that you have to do afterwards. So you can then like limit it. Like, let's say you do a really solid phone jam on Sunday night and a really solid phone jam at the team meeting, and just 5 before, 5 after the rest. You're probably not going to have to do a longer phone jam the rest of the week. It's just like a mop up, like a few calls here, a few calls there, like to get things rolling for yourself. So 5 before, 5 after is definitely effective. And then you say you want to stop telling yourself to phone and then not actually doing it. One of the ways that you can do that is by picking an accountability partner on our team, having someone where you're like, hey, I'm going to be phoning at this time. What time's your next phone time? All right, cool. I'm going to message you or I'm going to call you right before I'm about to start phoning. So expect a phone call at this time. Because when you tell it to other people, you're dramatically more likely to get it done versus if you just keep it to yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it totally does. Also, just to kind of cut in here, I have a 10 o'clock demo, so I'm probably going to take off in a couple minutes.
Okay, yeah, totally cool. Go ahead, Jack. Thanks for being on the call. This is being recorded, and I'll post the recording for anything that you miss. You're not going to miss really much of anything anyway, because we're just about done here. So have fun.
Okay.
We'll talk to you soon. Okay, Jack?
All right, see you guys.
Bye-bye. And then he talked about guys having fun on his demos. And without question, one of the most important things you got to do on each demo is you got to have fun with it. Think about it. Energy, excitement, enthusiasm, that sells Cutco. Energy, excitement, enthusiasm, it's all about the E's. People don't want to do demos with non-excited, boring, low energy people. Okay? It's not fun for them. So it's our job to make the demos fun, to make the conversation fun. So make sure you're having fun on your demonstrations, okay? And then Elisa, are you ready now? Hopefully.
Yep.
Awesome. Go ahead. Hit us.
So I'd like to start like having better time management and stop going to bed so late because that's really affecting me, as well as continue my good attitude even though I am tired.
Okay. All right. So time management is definitely key. One of the ways to develop good time management habits, again, is to have some sort of system in place and have a strong purpose for why you want to do it. So it's like, okay, I want to have better time management. Well, why do you want to have better time management? And okay, well, why do you want to do that? And you keep asking yourself why until you can't ask yourself why anymore. So time management is, a lot of it just comes down to just proper planning and putting stuff on paper, putting stuff in your calendar, having things that you really want to do, really need to do, all that good stuff. So make sure you use the schedule sheets if you don't have a planner yourself, but I think you recently bought a planner. So take a look at all the activities that you want to do and you need to do and just put them into your schedule. Or put them in like a floating schedule. Like, I'm not 100% sure when I want to get this done today, but I know I need to get in X, Y, Z. Okay?
Hey, Josh, I have a question.
Yes.
Did you ever find out what that, like that matrix?
Oh.
I sent a picture of it to you.
I think it's called the priority matrix.
That thing really helped me with like time management and just seeing like why it was so important.
Yeah. It's like basically urgent, non-urgent, important, non-important. Trying to find the one that's exactly. Oh yeah, the original thing is the Eisenhower box, or yeah, there it is. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I can send that, guys, to you. Oh shoot, we only have less than a minute left before we get kicked off. Okay, going to bed so late. Without question, guys, going to bed early, you plan something early to do in the morning. That will help you go to bed earlier the night before. And if you're in like a cycle of go to bed late, wake up late, all that stuff, don't take a nap the next day so that you're tired the next evening. And that'll certainly help you with going to bed so late and turning off your phone or like silencing it or whatever. So that, like, get away from screen time late at night. So that can help. And then having a good attitude, obviously having a great attitude is going to help with just about every single thing that you do. So yes, Elisa, continue having a fantastic attitude. So I appreciate you guys being on the call this morning. If you want to post your top 2 to 3 nuggets from the call on the group, that would be huge. That would be important. I know most of you already checked in, so good job with that. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to give me a call this morning. Reach out, give me a shout, and I will talk to you guys soon, okay?
Okay, bye.
All right. Bye, guys.
Yep.
Have a great day.
Bye.